Good evening, gamers. It's Monday night, and we are here with another episode of the What I'm Playing Now podcast. My name is Joe Luzzi. With me, as always, although we didn't think he was going to be at first, is my co-host Greg Martin. How you doing, buddy?
I've returned from the dead. We came back from the sunken cruise liner off of South Korean shore. I probably shouldn't be making jokes about that, but I'm going to anyways because I'm a dick. And I swam ashore, found the missing Malaysian airliner, and flew it back home.
Sounds good.
And here I am.
I'm glad you were able to bring that back for us.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, nobody was on board. They were all abducted by aliens, and I killed one of them. So.
An alien?
Well, no, I killed a person.
Oh.
I suspected him of being an alien, but
he was probably.
That may have been the absinthe.
He was probably probed.
More than likely, but I didn't trust him, so
All
we
right.
killed him. So nobody survived,
Absinthe will do that to you, though.
So I've been told.
Yeah, me too.
You've never drank this stuff?
No, I have not. Have you?
No. I've known people who have partaken, and they will never do it again.
Really? I had I worked with somebody before that had procured a bottle, I guess I should say, but don't know if he ever actually partook of its lovely taste.
I've heard it has a very peculiar scent. Like you could definitely tell that absinthe is absinthe.
Yes.
I'm not privy enough to try that stuff. My tolerance level for alcohol is very little.
Well, for years, I think you couldn't even purchase it in the States.
That's correct.
I'm sure I think you can now. But,
yeah. He doesn't own one over here. He was over in Germany when he drank.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely think it's more popular over there. So, over in Europe and across the seas.
It's kind of like
across the waters.
It's kind of like the domesticated version of moonshine.
Yeah.
Well, moonshine's I'm sorry, I screwed that up. Moonshine is the domesticated version of absinthe.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'd want to try that shit, to be honest.
Yeah, I tried once. Just to say I tried it.
Now, what would be really interesting is if we go down to OLF and they have the beer fest going on across the street again, and somebody's doling out absinthe in the guise of Christmas ale.
I don't believe that would happen, but
all them college kids would be freaking wasted, man.
I'm sure some of those college kids probably have the stuff, so that'd probably be the place to get it.
We'll just ask them, hey man, you carrying?
All right, you can find us at email whatimplayingnow@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at whatimplayingnow. Drop the G. Google plus.google.com/the +, What I'm Playing Now podcast, and twitch.tv/What I'm Playing Now is our Twitch channel.
That's right.
And we have news stories abundance today.
Yes, we do. Far too many. In fact, I think this is, I don't know, this may be the most news stories that we've ever populated for this show.
I think this is about normal. It's 10, and that's about what although the thing says 13 because I have multiple stories under some of them, so kind of the way it tabbed it out, I think it did it all funky, but I think 10 is what I did last week, too, for the podcast.
I skipped the show. I didn't get a chance to go back and gloss over the last episode show notes.
Yeah, it's a nice round number, and it basically got me to I think I did like 36 minutes last week, but you kind of missed the little fun I was having with my headset, and I apologize for that, because it was something that I was not expecting, and it was a very, very interesting thing. This headset is set to basically turn itself off after 5 minutes, and with no sound coming through the headset, guess what? That's exactly what it was doing. The mic will not keep the headphones on. So every 5 minutes, I was turning the fucking headphones back on, which was rather interesting and fun. I played around with it after the podcast and found out that through Audacity, I can get the sound to come back through whenever I have to do a solo podcast. So that will never happen again. That was basically a noob error. It was something I knew the headphones did. Never really experienced it, though, before.
Man, see, this goes back to our teachings from last year. Know your shit.
Yeah, it was just something. Once it happened, I was like, I'm talking through the mic. It probably should be fine, even though no. No, the mic will not keep the headphones on. It will freaking turn off. I sat there and I was like, really? And Walt said he watched it last week and he said he was laughing a little bit because he said he could see me fumbling every so and then up, and I'd be like, I'm gonna take a quick drink, and I'd turn it off and turn it back on when I saw it was getting close to 5 minutes just to try to beat it. So I was trying to cover it up, but that should not happen again. So, but our first story.
Some people are gonna have your nuts.
Yeah, I know, no doubt. So our first story is Watch Dogs. They were talking about the season pass this week. It's a $19.99 season pass. It's going to include where you can play as a new protagonist called T-Bone, who's basically a brilliant but eccentric hacker who lives by his own rules, is the quote here that GameSpot had on their site. You're also going to have a new mode called Digital Trip, where you hunt cyborgs. It's going to include some single-player missions, weapons, and outfits. With the latest patch for the PS4, I was actually thinking about buying the season pass for this and actually just purchasing the game digitally, because I think this is going to be one of the first games you can actually preload onto the PS4 and actually download it before it's actually available to play, which is something that they just released in the latest 1.7 update of the firmware. So I may actually try that and actually just purchase this along with the DLC all through the PlayStation Store and just go complete digital on this package.
That's
rather than get a physical copy. I may try it. I'm still torn. I kind of want a physical copy.
Dude, you need that disc, man.
I kind of want the disc, but I kind of want to try the full digital one on this.
You know,
it's Watch Dogs. It's all about hackers. It's digital. There should be no physicality to anything.
Joe, one day bits are going to become reality, and then we're all going to be fucked. Is what's going to happen. No, this is kind of interesting. I didn't know the PS4 would let you well, I don't own PS4, so I still don't pay attention to that stuff. I didn't know they were letting you preload bits though. Steam.
This is the first game.
Yeah, Steam's done that for a while.
Yes, Steam has done it for a while, and I don't know if the Xbox One does that.
I don't either.
But I think Watch Dogs may be the first game you can actually do that with, as the 1.7 patch just came out literally last Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is something brand new, and that's kind of why I want to try it, just to say, yes, I did that once.
So this season pass thing, I might have missed this, but this kind of seems like a new thing to me. Like a lot of companies are kind of jumping on this whole season pass bit where they get your 20 up front, and it grandfathers you into a whole shit ton of benefits. You know what I mean? So I think the first game I played that had that was BioShock Infinite, but it was probably out before then.
Oh, Season Pass, yes. Well, Season Passes probably started back with I don't even know what game was first. I mean, the Call of Duties have had them. I mean, Saints Row the Third had it back on the PS3 when I played Saints Row the Third years ago. A couple years ago, they had a Season Pass. I think it's just something where companies are trying to just extend the life of their product, extend the life of their game, give their game a little longer legs, make a little bit more money on the side for producing a little bit more content. Plus it keeps their game in people's consoles, hopefully playing a little bit longer than they normally would. So, I mean, I picked up the season pass for Assassin's Creed 4. I mean, like I said, I picked up the season pass for Saints Row the Third, a while ago. I haven't purchased too many season passes. The Walking Dead, I buy as a season pass because I just buy all the episodes all at once and then just download them when they come out.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that was kind of a newer thing. It seems like it's a newer thing, and like I said, maybe I just wasn't on that bandwagon before, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's just interesting because I see games that have launch day DLC. Like the one that I really remember that stands out to me the most was Mass Effect 3. Well, there was a big ass controversy about that launch day DLC, and then you see stuff like Season Pass come out.
Right.
Where it's just, okay, we'll grandfather all your content in. And I just wonder if that was a newer thing, or, I mean, is this something that game companies would probably be looking to do going forward?
I'm sure everybody's going to be doing it going forward, um, especially if it's a way that they can keep the money rolling in throughout the year on a product until they release the next version. So it keeps. I don't want to say it's like a monthly, like an MMO subscription or something like that, but
Right.
it's
Yeah,
something. It's something similar along those lines, I guess you could say.
I guess the correlation I'm trying to draw is, is it going to get to the point with a season pass thing where people are going to start feeling burnt by it? Like you pay up front and the company under delivers and you're basically kind of fucked.
Sometimes that has happened on some of the games I've heard before. The season the updates that they release actually don't really live up to the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ones for Saints Row the Third weren't the world's greatest. I mean, if had I not bought the season pass, I might not have bought a couple of the DLCs because what they offered wasn't something I was really too enthused about. So,
Okay.
and you may get that on some games. So, buyer beware when it comes to that stuff. You don't always know what you're getting with the season pass in some of the things. So,
you might open up your DLC and get a used condom.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And it may be used, so be careful. So the next Watch Dogs story we had was a story where GameSpot talked to the one marketing executive, and they basically talked about the reason for the delay of Watch Dogs, why they felt they had to, basically at the last minute, especially being so late, in the production cycle. As we talked about before, they basically kind of postponed the game like a month before it came out. They said, their stock fell. They had a lot of marketing and everything was in place already, but they just felt that they needed to. And it seems like pre-orders are up for the game from what it sounds like, and everybody's really kind of waiting for this one. I know this is a game I'm really stoked and can't wait to sit down and play finally for it to come out.
Now, wasn't this one actually supposed to be a launch title for the PS4?
It was yes, it was. It was supposed to be launched. I was supposed to get the Watchdog bundle from Amazon, so it was my console was supposed to come basically with the PS4 as well as the Watch Dogs game with it. Mm-hmm. So they basically just dropped the Watch Dogs game for my bundle, and they were, Amazon was nice enough to just sell the console as like a day one console, which was really nice because some of the companies I heard were actually just canceling the order altogether, even if you had one, which is kind of screwing over the customer because that's a really, really shitty thing to do.
Well, yeah, they probably, botched up single console sales in one group and then bundle sales in another group, and whenever they figured out, Watch Dogs isn't coming out, oh shit, we don't have any more single consoles to sell. Sorry, bro.
It's pretty much exactly kind of what happened. So, Watch Dogs launches the 27th. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in the weeks coming up to the launch. But that was about it for that one. Another story I found off of Polygon. You've played Left 4 Dead, I think.
Oh, dude, I saw this and I kind of had a mini orgasm because I love Taito and I love Left 4 Dead, and this kind of just hit my nerd boner really well.
So now the interesting thing here is, will we be able to play it here in the U.S.? Because it sounds like Valve and a Japanese dev Taito team are teaming up for a Left 4 Dead arcade game per the Polygon article, but it really doesn't say if this arcade game is coming out here in the U.S. or if it's going to be over in Japan.
Yeah, the thing is, I think arcades are actually still pretty popular over in Japan.
Yeah, and finding one around here is getting to be pretty difficult nowadays.
Yeah, there's one in the Carnation Mall down the street from me, which does fairly well, surprisingly. I'm kind of impressed at how well that one manages to do. But the arcades in Japan are still really, really popular. Right. I'm not too sure why, but that's just how it is. We may see a console port, I would think. That's usually what happens when this kind of shit goes down, is where, Japan sees a arcade version, then we get the console port because, arcades over here are they might as well be dead.
Which would be cool to me. I mean, that'd be really interesting. I'd like to see what they come up with together.
Right, and traditionally, though, and this is probably an old school mentality of thinking, traditionally arcade ports to consoles have not been the best. And with this kind of game here, I would hope that we would be able to maintain the quality cross-platform if that's something they decide to go with.
Right.
So, but yeah, this looks really, really freaking cool.
I agree, 100%. So when I heard the story and saw it, I was like, yeah, we got to mention it at least. I mean, we don't have too much information about it, so we'll definitely keep our eyes out, and maybe we can talk about it some more in an upcoming podcast. But
yeah, and for those who don't know, Taito was the group behind Bubble Bobble.
Oh, okay, cool. I forgot about that.
Yep, that was them. The good old 101 levels of bullshit, and you actually had a good ending that I never got.
That's crazy. All right, now here's something that I heard about last week. Disney Infinity, they're launching their Marvel superheroes, which is going to be basically Infinity 2.0. I really didn't pay too much attention to Disney Infinity. I know we talked about Skylanders a couple episodes ago, and you hadn't really even heard of the whole concept before.
Yeah, I know. You're busting my balls hard for that one, man.
Sorry, I had to. This one actually looks really cool, and this Disney Infinity 2.0 is actually supposed to be coming out for the PS4 and the Xbox One, it sounds like. And I'm going to have to really look at the gameplay for this, because it said in the Polygon article, they actually describe it kind of like a dungeon crawler. And if that's what kind of this is with like superhero characters, this could be something that Kim and I might enjoy playing, actually, co-op. So I'm really going to be interested in looking at this, although I know it is probably focused more for kids, but it just sounded kind of cool.
Yeah, this kind of didn't go on my radar either.
Well, the interesting thing was everybody knew that there was going to be a new Disney Infinity launched, or talked about it, that thing, and everybody was wondering what it was going to be. So everybody said once they announced Marvel, they're like, well, you know what, next year, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be Star Wars, because the Star Wars movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine that Disney Infinity 3.0, is whatever they're going to call it, will be Star Wars related, since Disney owns that now as well.
Did you see the goddamn cast for the new Star Wars movie? Are you fucking kidding me?
It has all the old people in it too. Why are you tripping?
Why am I tripping? Mark Hamill, at his age with the goddamn lightsaber, he's gonna kill himself with it.
Hey, Obi-Wan was how old? Relax.
Hey, you know what? If you look at how Obi-Wan used to do back in the day, and then you see how he did against Darth Vader in Episode 4, there's a reason that asshole got killed.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting that they're bringing everybody back. I thought that was an interesting twist. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens to it.
Yeah,
who knows where they take the story.
I'm just being an asshole. I'm really interested to see what happens with what is it, Episode 7?
Yes.
Consider the fact that I just did like a whole 6 bender where I watched all 6 of them.
Jeez, that's crazy.
That was the best day ever, man.
So I don't know, like I said, I think this will be pretty interesting. I'm really interested to see how the gameplay is for this. I really didn't look at any of the gameplay for the regular Disney Infinity, because I thought it was just like Skylanders, and it seemed more like a platformer to me than almost like a dungeon crawl. So I really want to take a look at this now and actually see what this gameplay is like for this, and see if it actually would be kind of enjoyable for us to play over here. So
you'll have to let me know, because I'm going to skip out on that one.
I kind of figured that.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm gonna be playing more interesting things like My Little Pony.
You're gonna go for the Transformers universe, and you're going to get the Cyber Knight bundle. I know you are.
Oh man, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. You want to know why? Because Cyber Knight bundle is 500 bones, and I have nothing else better to spend it on.
That is completely insane.
Oh, I know.
So, did you see who's actually putting this out?
Gygax? I believe so. Yeah.
Are you familiar with them at all?
I'm not familiar with their work. I may be, but
have you heard of a little game called RuneScape?
Seriously, that's them?
I'm almost positive that is them.
We're looking this shit up. I don't know what computer I'm using right now. I got like 14 computers over here.
I'm 99.9% positive that Jagex does.
You would be correct, sir.
That they did. Yes,
yeah. Yeah, there's a really fat guy on the homepage.
Yeah. Now I went to the Wikipedia page and they have RuneScape there. So Jagex did RuneScape. So
Yeah,
they're
so
not
they
that
have-
small of a company because RuneScape is, I think, still pretty popular. If you watch Twitch, there's still a hell of a lot of people playing RuneScape on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, RuneScape, War of Legends, and Transformers U.
So I really haven't been playing or paying too much attention to the Transformer universe, but when I saw the story on GameSpot and kind of saw that they have a $500 package you could get, I was like, it kind of caught my eye. I was like, okay, WTF, what is this? I really haven't looked into the game, but some of the packages here are just insane.
I know, they cracked me up. I cracked me up. It's like, it's competitively priced. What are you competing against, dude? A fucking Tesla car?
$450, and you're getting but it's worth over $750. So I got to look and see what this game actually is. It definitely looks like it has tons of microtransactions in it because you're actually going to be getting what appears to be like in-game money in it with that purchase to spend. But I just saw that $450 and it was just like, wow. I mean, I thought when I bought the $200 lifetime subscription for Lord of the Rings Online that was insane.
Right.
I mean, but it's only a year combo season pass. It's not lifetime.
See, this is where I feel like these guys are gonna fuck up hard, because this could be a prime example of where free to play goes seriously wrong with the microtransaction shit.
Yeah.
And like, who the $500? Really? You know how many fucking games I could buy with $500?
Well, it's actually only $449.
Oh, okay, $440.
So it's $450.
Okay, so you know how many fucking games I can buy with $450? You know how many groceries I could buy with $450?
One or two, maybe a couple packs of ramen noodle.
Oh man.
Box of mac and cheese.
I got to have my ramen, man. Need that beef cup.
So, like I said, I need to look into this. I really didn't get too much time to research the game, watch any videos on it or something. I want to see what the gameplay's like. I'm not too familiar with it. I saw this story on GameSpot and basically was just like, what?
That's $500 for a goddamn pack.
I was just like, I mean,
like, I wouldn't even pay that if Square Enix had a collector's edition of Final Fantasy 15 that cost $500. And they had like the best. They had like they would have had like the fucking best shit ever in there. I would never pay that for it.
Bullshit. Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you're right.
You'd go start giving plasma.
Yeah, you're right. I'd sell a kidney. Probably do. I mean, I got my fucking Final Fantasy 13 shit everywhere on my desk.
It should be Elder Scrolls Online, but we'll talk about that later. So
hey, you know what? My watch is still in the box. I haven't touched that bastard. I didn't even reset it. It's still in the wrong time.
That's awesome.
And there's a little leaflet in there that says you should reset the time and take it to a professional watchmaker and have them replace the battery. Nope. Ain't touching that shit.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Like, smack his hand.
So, next story. Ouya launches a new game streaming service. I didn't know that Ouya was going to be doing something like this. It sounds like they're doing a service called Playcast. It's developed by Playcast Media. It's basically a streaming service, kind of like OnLive or what the upcoming PlayStation Now is going to be like, per this Polygon article I found. So, interesting that you can basically play Lego Batman 2, Splinter Cell Conviction, and they have a couple other games coming out, and some other big-name publishers on there, like EA, Ubisoft, Konami, Warner Brothers, 2K. So there's a bunch of people signed up, sounds like, that are going to be doing stuff on here.
Well, here's the problem. All this sounds well and dandy. I got two things to point out. One, what happened to OnLive? And two, who the fuck owns an Ouya?
Yeah, well, we know somebody who owns an Ouya.
Okay, one person out of how many people?
Exactly, we know one person.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
really?
I mean, it's...
I mean, this is kind of like, I don't know, this is way late to the game, bro. You should have had this shit a while ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
This feels like the life support move for the Ouya.
Well, one of the crazy things is the one game that was released on the Ouya that was one of the most popular ones that just came out on the PS4, and the name is escaping me right now. I guess sold way better on the PS4 than it ever did on the Ouya, and supposedly was the best-selling game on the Ouya. So,
And you know what? That's pathetic. That's so pathetic. And I hate to sound like a goddamn curmudgeon on this Ouya because I was super pumped when I saw this thing was coming out, and it feels like it was a total flop. It really does.
I don't know if I would call it a total flop. I mean, they were able to actually start off on Kickstarter, talk about a product. They developed and engineered the product. They actually got it through production, released out to the public. I mean, they've done a lot more than a lot of people, have been able to accomplish with this. I think it was basically just. I think some of these consoles where they're basically just going for like an Android base OS and it's just basically an Android gaming system. I think the games that are on the phones just don't have the same carryover that they will where you want to sit there and play it like you would a normal console game.
Well, see that's the problem too. I mean, you've got so many issues with what you just brought up there. For one thing, a lot of these Android-based consoles are actually custom spins of Android, which means that they're being maintained upstream by the manufacturer. And when they don't feel like updating, you're not getting your updates, bro. Second thing is what you just said. When you write a game on Android for a tablet, yes, the Android APIs do have support for controllers. How many retards do you see with their tablet and a Bluetooth controller sitting around? Not too many.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a touch-based game. So what happens when Ouya wants to start putting these touch-based games on their console? What are you going to do? Use the freaking thumbstick to move it around? That ain't going to work. And you can't. I mean, these people aren't going to sit there and rewrite the core mechanic of their game to support a controller most of the time, because they're happy with the sales they're going to get on Google Play or Amazon Store or whatever, and they're just going to look at Ouya and laugh their ass off.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sounding like a dick at this, but I just don't see the point at this point. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's I think I don't even want to say that it's a niche market because I don't even think it's a niche market. I mean, I just think it's something that people looked at the profitability of some of the games that were released on the phones, and they thought they could carry it over to the console, or basically carry it over to a console. And I just don't. I just think there's too big of a gap there. I just think a game for a phone is basically, best played on a phone or a tablet.
Right.
Right. And playing something like that on your TV. I mean, when I go to sit down and play something, I want to play a game. I don't want to play anything that's really been released on my phone on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's some people that do.
Yeah,
we don't see it. So
no, but I mean, if they are talking to, I mean, going back to the topic at hand, if they are talking to the publishers that they are saying that they're talking to, I mean, these are some pretty big name people. I mean, you don't stop at these ones. You got Capcom, Square Enix, Namco, Sega. I mean, if they're able to get this content from these publishers down to this console, which is going to be DRM laden all to hell.
Definitely.
Maybe the Ouya will pick up steam again. Maybe we might see, the people getting more interest, and maybe that might drive the Ouya owners to do something more with the operating system. Because I know I've seen different posts from people about trying to update the Ouya, and it just completely foobars. Like it wipes the disk by accident, so you have to reinstall the whole damn thing over again.
Oh wow.
So yeah, maybe that might force Ouya to do actual support for this thing, but I'd keep an eye on it. I would. I'm 100% skeptical of this thing, and I'm taking it with a bag of salt.
We know somebody who owns one, so we'll make sure he keeps us updated on it.
We'll use him as a guinea pig.
We'll let him be the guinea pig, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, our next story. I got a couple stories from Polygon, GameSpot, all dealing with ZeniMax. And they are going after Oculus Rift, mainly because of John Carmack going over to Oculus and ZeniMax saying that a lot of what he produced back in the early days of the Oculus VR was done at ZeniMax, and they basically own it. Now, in some later updates, CarMax basically come out and said that none of the code that he wrote while under contract to ZeniMax is in Oculus. And he says nothing that he's ever done has been patented, and ZeniMax owns the code that he wrote, but they don't own the VR. So it sounds like this kind of started a couple years ago, from what both articles said, that there's been talks between ZeniMax and Oculus as far as ZeniMax feeling like they own a piece of this, that they should have something. But now that Facebook is involved and purchased them for $2 billion, ZeniMax is like, yep, we're wanting a piece of that pie. And that's the reason why lawyers get involved, and emails are sent, and letters are written, and shit's going down to Chinatown. So,
man, this whole thing stinks. Stinks like a freaking rat's ass, man.
It'll be really interesting to see what CarMax part was while he was at ZeniMax, and basically what type of agreement he had with ZeniMax, as far as what he could work on and what he couldn't work on, and what was owned by them. I mean, did anything he touched while he was at ZeniMax, do they own? This will be really interesting to see what comes out of this. If they do actually just come to some sort of agreement, does Facebook just pay off ZeniMax? I have no idea what's going to come out of this, but this is a very, very interesting story.
See, I can't tell who's being a dick here, though. That's the thing. Like, I can't tell if ZeniMax is just like, oh, yeah, we want more monies. So
I want to say, for as much as I like ZeniMax right now, considering I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online,
you better watch.
Yeah, I know. My character's going to get banned here. I would say I'm going to log into the game and you have no rights to the game. Get the fuck out of here. I would say ZeniMax is kind of being the dick, because I think if they really thought they had a stand on this, why weren't lawyers brought into this 2 years ago when the initial, talks began? Why does it come up now that, there's $2 billion involved? Well, we all know why. They want money.
Right, and that's exactly what I was saying, is like, oh, we want monies. And
right.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I said, I agree with you. I like a lot of the stuff that ZeniMax has done in the past.
Right.
And even some of their current ventures. I mean, ESO is really good. I don't know if they were involved with Skyrim or not. I know they were with Fallout 3, I believe.
I can't remember if they were involved with Skyrim either, to tell you the truth.
I know they were involved with all the Fallout games, Fallout 3 and New Vegas, which I fucking love both of those games. But it always bothers me when I see crap like this. I mean, I'm not a VR whore. I'm not excited about this kind of stuff at all. But I just hate when it's like this kind of shit happens where a company decides, oh, you have a lot of money, we want some.
Yeah.
And they just pull bullshit like this.
We think we're owed some.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
It's
probably not.
It's like the corporate version of people who game welfare, right? Where it's like people who feel like the government owes them for shit, which I'm going into a whole other tangent, but it's kind of the same thing. These companies feel like other companies owe them for shit because they like, oh, we were close to doing that. Oh, you weren't.
Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, see what happens. Doesn't sound like anything's happening. Anything's going to stop. I mean, the sale to Facebook. CarMax still working at Oculus. It's not like he's coming back to id, who basically is owned by ZeniMax, which is the reason why is the umbrella that he's falling under, because ZeniMax bought id years ago. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. But I don't know. That just sucks.
But the next story has a lot of good news to it.
Hell yeah. Blizzard giving away free games. I will be signing in later on today and making sure I get these.
Yes, I will too, because you know what? These 3 games were my fucking childhood, man.
So Blizzard actually is giving away 3 games free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving away the Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. I guess if you sign into your Battle.net account, you can check the games associated with your account per this GameSpot article. And under the Classic Games section, you will find these 3 games are all available to download. If you go out to GameSpot, we can put a link in the podcast notes. You can also download them off of this other link that goes to basically just a us.battle.net page. But yeah, I definitely want to grab these, and why the hell not? I mean, free games
Really?
from Blizzard. I've given Blizzard tons of money over the years with all the different games, World of Warcraft, everything. I will take my 3 free games from them, definitely, and enjoy them.
Oh, I know. Dude, Rock and Roll Racing, me and my friends used to sit around the Genesis and play that thing all day long, man. All day long. Blackthorn, the first time I played that was on a Super Nintendo emulator. That was the most amazing game I ever played. The Lost Vikings pissed me off a lot, but I kept playing it. It was one of those games where it was just like,
Yeah.
I hate this game, but I want to see what happens afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, for early games, they're pretty good games. I mean, they were popular back in their day, so it'll be cool to be able to go back and reminisce a little bit and see how these games have held out over the years. Because I haven't seen any of these games probably, since I was much younger and a much earlier gamer. So
Yeah.
we go from old retro games to Project Cars. I talked about this game last week and saw a video on this. This game is basically going to be a game that is. They're going for like hyper realism as far as graphics go. I mean, it's basically, picture photographic perfect is the way the graphics are for this racing game. And I just wanted to bring it up again that some of the things that they're putting out for this it just sounds kind of amazing. They want to have different kind of motorsports and allow players to experiment with both of them per this Polygon article. And they have a quote here from one of the developers or producers. They want to connect players with a variety of online community features, time trials, events, competitive multiplayer, content sharing, stat comparison, and more. I don't know if since you weren't here last week, Greg, you'll have to go back and maybe watch the video. You gotta just see how good these graphics look and what this looks like. I'm a big car racing fan. I've always loved the Gran Turismo games, everything from back in the day. I mean, Pole Position was my game back in the day at the arcades and on the Commodore and shit like that. Loved it. Cannot wait to play this game.
Dude, Pole Position was freaking awesome, man.
Yes, it was. You can't go wrong with that.
I love that game. No, I need to look at these photos. I mean, if this is supposed to be like ultra realistic.
It's supposed to be a photorealistic game, and if you look, it does look pretty darn good in the video I saw.
I need to look at these on my 1080p display because it's on my laptop right now, and I want to see it as high def as I can get it. I don't have one of those 4K TVs.
Yeah, so. Me neither. Would love one. Maybe someday.
Jim, can I have one?
Please.
But yeah, if anything, I would probably play this just for the photorealistic effect.
Yeah, I mean, last week when I talked about this, I think they really didn't talk too much about the game. They kind of just showed the video, said that this was coming out, I think in November, I think it was. I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
I'm worried that it's going to be more focused on photorealism and less focus on good mechanics.
And that's what we'll have to see. We'll have to see if they can do a blending of both. I mean, if they could do a blending of both, and wow, Gran Turismo could have something to
be worried about.
Yes, exactly. I mean, because on the Sony consoles, Gran Turismo's been the game. On the the Xbox consoles, you have Forza's been the racing game. I mean, so each console has had their own really good game. I mean, I think on the Xbox you also had Project Gotham, but I still preferred Forza over Project Gotham back in the day.
I was a Sega GT guy, man.
Yeah, that was okay on the original Xbox, but it still wasn't one of my favorites.
I'm talking like Dreamcast, man.
Oh yeah, you're okay. Then you're going back further.
Yeah, that was my. See, that's the thing is I'm not a big racing guy. The few that I have managed to get into though have been ones with really And this is not putting anything on Sega GT because at the time it was probably one of the best racing games with the best mechanics. But I was into the racing games with shitty mechanics like Tokyo Extreme Racer. It was only because of the stupid music in the game, or the original Mario Kart, which kind of technically doesn't count as a proper racing game. But
see, now I remember back on my original PlayStation, I think it was Andretti Racing. I used to sit there and play a lot of.
I remember that game.
I think that was the name of it, and it was. I just used to play the hell out of that. Well, that in original PlayStation, you had to play the original Ridge Racer.
Oh yeah, yep.
Back in the day, that was just. I mean, I've already talked about the Negicon controller I had and everything on an earlier podcast, so we don't need to go back down that road. So let's jump over to the next story because we're almost done here. We're in the home stretch, and then we got to talk about games.
Let's do it.
This is gonna be a long podcast already. I can see. We'll just touch real quick on this. CCP for their EVE Online, they had their Fantasy Fest out there in Iceland, and they had talked basically about the cancellation of World of Darkness, which I think I talked about last week as well, which I was extremely bummed about. I hadn't realized that CCP actually had bought White Wolf, and that's what it kind of sounds like, which was really surprising to me, that they had actually purchased White Wolf, which does all the tabletop role-playing games and everything. That's what they're known for. But basically it sounds like they got to a point in the development cycle for the World of Darkness, and just they kept changing. It sounds like they kept changing focus. Things kept changing with the game. It's been in development for years now. It sounds like 5 or 6 years, and it doesn't sound like it was really getting anywhere. It sounds like CCP basically just said, okay, we're stopping everything. Everybody within this company is now focusing on EVE. They have EVE Online. They also have Dust 514, which is a PS3 shooter. And they also have one coming out, EVE Valkyrie, which I think is supposed to be like a VR type game. So, CCP is basically concentrating on EVE, and it sounds like they're not going to do anything else. They haven't said if anybody else is going to pick up World of Darkness, if they're actually even looking to maybe sell it off to anybody, or maybe try to keep that genre or game going. So, still don't know any more than we did really before about World of Darkness, other than it's canceled, and CCP is basically going the route of EVE, which bums me out.
Dun dun dun.
So one of our last stories here from Polygon, I guess there were more invites sent out to PlayStation Now. The private beta were going out a couple days ago. I think Friday or Saturday they sent some out.
I didn't get one. God damn it.
I didn't get one either. So kind of bummed about that. But if you got one, more power to you.
You're a
enjoy
bitch.
Some of the games. Hopefully I can get into that soon. If not, hopefully it's released soon on either the PS3 or the PS4, so I can start playing with that. And then here's a story that I thought you may be interested in.
This pissed me off, actually.
Neversoft is merging with Infinity Ward.
There goes my goddamn Tony Hawk, man.
I know everybody is used to Neversoft, basically Tony Hawk game. Also Guitar Hero back in the day. Excellent franchise there. I guess they worked on Call of Duty Ghosts with Infinity Ward last year. I guess both studios felt like they worked great together, and they're going to merge them. So they're in the new name of the house will be called Infinity Ward. They're going to go with that name, and so you will probably not see Neversoft on any games going forward.
They should have called it Infinity Soft.
Or Never Ward.
Never Ward or Soft Ward.
So, I mean, it doesn't sound like anybody was laid off or anything, which is a good thing. It sounds like they're just merging. I mean, I guess that's one good thing at least. Nobody's losing their jobs over this.
Yeah, but I didn't play Call of Duty, so I don't understand. Like, are we gonna see people skateboarding in Call of Duty?
I don't think so. I highly doubt that.
I'm not interested then.
Unless if they put the dog on roller skates, maybe.
Oh my god, man! What was it?
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
What was it?
Roller skating dog.
Tony Hawk 2 with the Darth Maul the Darth Maul cheat where you could get him in the game instead.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. That first Tony Hawk, though, that was classic.
The early Tony Hawk games were spectacular. There's so many good ones out there.
I did music for those games, man. You could just put that thing. You could put that thing on the pause menu and just play the whole soundtrack over and over again.
And some of the hidden things that were in this game, the Star Wars Kid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of that stuff was just pure insanity, man. It was just spectacular.
Good game.
All right, that's the news for the week. God damn, I'm tired now. I don't even know if I want to talk about what I played for the week, but let's jump into it. What I'm playing now. Let's see. Go figure. ESO. Elder Scrolls Online. I'm level 32, having a flippin' blast. Me and my buddies got into a bunch of different trading guilds, which has definitely opened up a whole new avenue of being able to get items that we haven't been able to get and sell some of the stuff, the good drops that we have, rather than just vendor trashing the shit or just breaking it down. I'm still having a blast with this game. I cannot believe you have not started playing this yet. Completely disappointed in you. That's a whole other story that we could take that offline.
That's what I do, man. I live for disappointments. I'm here to let you down.
I can't. There's still bugs in the game. Saturday night when we were doing a lot of PvPing and stuff, I was getting knocked off the game. It was crashing every now and then. And it's funny because I had played on and off Saturday afternoon, and not one thing happened. The minute I'm in a group with a couple of buddies, the game just starts running like crap. So I ran a repair on the game. I think it was Saturday night, and Sunday I think it was better. I was able to play most Sunday night, and I don't think I had one crash. So I don't know if maybe there was something that was buggered up with my game, if maybe the repair fixed it, or if I was just running into a bad bit of luck and when the game was just not playing nice with me Saturday night. So, the guys that I've been grouping up with, everybody's in their 30s. One guy's in his 40s. I mentioned to you already. So, we're slowly leveling up. We're going to be looking for a guild to join.
Way to make fun of everybody you play with, Joe. They're all old people.
Yes, we are. We are all old people, but that's fine. We can still keep up with all the younger kids. So one of the other things I played this week, Saturday morning, first thing, woke up, and I've been putting this off for a couple of weeks. Finally sat down and did it. Walking Dead Season 2, Chapter 2, I knocked out. It was probably a couple hours long only. It wasn't real long. I have to say, the story writing in this game is quite amazing. Telltale does a great job with the storytelling. I almost feel like Telltale has worked quite a bit with the actual writers of The Walking Dead, and I don't know if they have or not. I don't know if Robert Kirkman is actually involved with any of this, but as I'm playing through this game, and I've noticed it before, but I really kind of paid attention to it Saturday while I was playing. It's almost like watching the TV show. I'm kind of like playing the game on the edge of my seat, wondering what's going to happen next, meeting different people in the game, thinking, all right, this person's kind of cool. We'll be hanging out with them for a little while. Boom, they're dead. It's just like the fucking TV show. It's like you meet people, you're going to get close, and they're dead 10 minutes later. You're like, what just happened?
You sure they're not hanging out with, George R.R. Martin, too? Like, just for lessons in how to fucking kill off your cast?
I don't know, but it's Saturday, the way the episode ended, I was like, it was a cliffhanger. I'm on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, almost ready to drop my controller and just sit back and be like, seriously? Seriously, that's where this is going to end? I was just like, this is insane. I mean, the people that died during the episode, I sat there and I was like, what? I sat there and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, what just happened? What did I do something wrong?
Yes, you did. You played the game. I mean,
it was great game though. It was a great episode. I mean, it was spectacular. So I can't wait for Chapter 3 to come out. I mean, every time I play this and go back to it, and the chapters are coming out, every month or two, I think it is. There's about 6 to 8 weeks apart, I think now. It's just killer. It's just killer to have to wait for the next one. I mean, it's just like, Walking Dead's off the air right now, and Kim and I don't have anything to watch on Sunday night anymore.
Now you do. You can just play The Walking Dead, the game.
And once you play it, I guess you can go through and maybe make some different choices
Well, that's a problem with games like this, though, is that they have extremely low replay value.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, if only to choose a different branch.
If only, yeah, you can choose a different dialogue branch and stuff like that. I don't know if it would really save anybody's life. I guess that would be interesting to find out. Because some of the choices I made, what's kind of cool at the end of the episode, they actually show you some of the choices you made. They compare you to the rest of the population. So if you made a choice to do X, they will show you X amount of people. They'll say like 40% of the people made your choice. So 60% of the people made the other choice. The episode that you did and the choices, and compare you with the community out there and the choices you made, which is kind of interesting to see. Like, am I a cold-hearted bastard? Ooh, I guess that point I was during that hour of the game. So, one of the other games I picked up, it was a free game on the Vita. It was Pixel Junk Monsters Ultimate HD. It's kind of like a tower. It's kind of a tower defense game.
Yeah, I grabbed this too, but I didn't play it.
Yeah, I had heard about this game before. Never played it on the PS3 or any of the other consoles. Started playing it the one night when I couldn't fall asleep. It was like one of the weekend nights or something like that. Couldn't fall asleep, so I just loaded it up real quick, played through the tutorial and everything like that. I was like, oh, this is a tower defense game. I kind of like tower defense games. I think they're kind of cool. And this one kind of was neat. I kind of like the concept. You control one guy. After you kill the different mobs that are going through, they drop coins and gems, which basically lets you, so you have to run around the screen and pick up the coins and everything, and that'll let you build different, turrets and guns and like that. Depending on the amount of gems you pick up, you can then unlock more advanced weaponry. So I haven't really got too far into the game, but what I've played so far, I think it's kind of cool.
I'll take my Vita with me tomorrow and play it while I'm at Macy's.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing to do, like before you're going to bed or anything, like something like that. It's not something that'll. I have trouble playing racing games or anything that's going to get me all jacked up before I go to bed. I need to play calm stuff, and the tower defense stuff, is just get you thinking. So, all right, you got a couple games you were playing this week. You were busy on the PS3, it sounds like.
Yeah, I kind of during my reclusion, I decided that sitting in front of my PlayStation was probably going to be a really good idea to simmer the mind, sort of zen. And I went against my better judgment and actually played a game that I almost for a while swore I would never play, but I don't know what possessed me other than, and no, it was not the whole fan service thing for this. I picked up Lollipop Chainsaw.
So very surprised about that statement.
Putting aside the obvious reasons for picking up Lollipop Chainsaw, it is a fucking fantastically fun game, and it's deceptive how fun the game is. It's mindless button mashing, but it's done in a way that it's drug out so that it's continuously fun, and the difficulty increase per level is enough to keep you interested in the game. It's not you hit that brick wall and like, oh shit, I guess I can't go any further than that. My only complaint is I don't think the content is geared for a second playthrough. I don't think I'm going to do it. And it's only for the virtue that the game was already hard enough on normal. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle it on a higher difficulty than that.
Interesting, because usually you jump at those higher difficulty levels.
I did. I started on hard, and I couldn't get past the second level, so I was like, well, shit. Yeah, so I was like, well, shit. So I jumped back to normal, and I was able to barely scrape by the game in that mode. And then when you beat it, it unlocks very hard. So I'm like, well, fuck me, man. If I can't get past the second level in hard mode, I ain't even going to touch very hard because I'm just going to throw the controller at the wall. The graphic style in the game is very interesting. The cutscenes are based comic book style, and it's got the ink blotter. It is cell shaded, but it's not an obnoxious cell shading like it was in 13 back on the PS2 when cell shading made you want to puke. But yeah, it's a very fun game, and the music is actually really cool too. I was surprised, but I mean, there are just some moments in that game where you're like, now I'm a guy, okay, but there are some points in that game where you're like, did you really have to go that far with it? Did you really, like, seriously, could you have just left that out? A lot of the humor is adult-oriented, but it's very funny. It's not obnoxious. It's not annoying.
It sounds cool. I remember when the game came out, it looked interesting. Because doesn't she kind of carry around her boyfriend's head?
Yeah. The premise is that he gets bitten by a zombie trying to save her, and she cuts off his head and performs a ritual to keep him alive. So she carries his head around and his head is attached to the backside of her skirt, so it's banging off her ass all the time. And there's constant remarks about how big her ass is and all this other kind of stuff, and it's just it's funny.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah. Keeping tried and true with my BioShock drug, I guess you could call it that. I have successfully converted 4 or 5 people from Call of Duty to BioShock already, so I think I'm doing pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I'm like, you like Call of Duty, huh? Yep. You tried BioShock Infinite? Nope. That's when I pull out my gun and put it to their head. Download the game and play it. Yeah, I'm one of those weird people that play Infinite first, and I have never played the first or second BioShock Infinite. And from what I'm being told, the second BioShock is actually not really in tandem with the games, but I'm still trying to chug through the first BioShock. I picked up the hang on a second.
Ooh. All right. Greg's going to get us a surprise. What does he bring back for us now?
This is the Ultimate Rapture Edition of BioShock and BioShock 2 for the PS3. Cool. It actually has both games on one disc. The only problem is you have to install, and it also has all the DLC too for BioShock 2. But you have to install all of the games to your drive for some really bizarre reason. I don't understand that. It's about 22 to 24 gig to install all the games and DLC. Probably because it's so compressed on the Blu-ray. That would be my guess.
It's probably uncompressed on the drive. Okay, Sasha, it's time for you to get down so we can finish the podcast. Thank you.
I've been plugging away at I took a minor stab at BioShock 2, but I jumped back to the first BioShock, and I've been plowing away at that, and I'm in love with that game. It's so good, so good.
Yeah, I played through a little bit of both of them. I never played through a lot of either of them.
Yeah, and the DLC for the second one, a lot of that seems like it's arbitrary content, like it's not something that's going to directly affect the playthrough of the game like it was with Infinite, where you had, like Columbia's Finest, which actually gave you a new shotgun, a new sniper rifle, and all that other kind of stuff. It's a lot of like multiplayer aspects to BioShock 2. So I'll hop into that eventually. And then I went old school and started playing some Parasite Eve 2. For those who don't know, I am a massive Parasite Eve whore. And I have a little ritual every Christmas. On the first snow, I start playing Parasite Eve 1 again. And I will delete my game, start new, play it through completely. And for people who are familiar with Parasite Eve, you'll appreciate this. I actually go back through and beat the Chrysler Building over again every year. For those that don't know, the Chrysler Building is 100 floors. You do have to traverse all 100 floors, and they are randomly generated. And each 10th floor is a boss fight, and it's very, very, very difficult. So yeah, but I started playing the second one. Second one's not really my favorite, but it's definitely a good game. It's more true to the Parasite Eve story than goddamn Third Birthday was, which was a massive disappointment.
Now, is that on the PS2?
Parasite Eve 2?
Yeah.
I have it on. Well, no, it was for original PlayStation, but I have it on the Vita as a download, and I also have it on my PS3.
Okay.
So I was actually playing it on my PS3. And that was about it, man. I logged so many hours into Lollipop Chainsaw and BioShock that it was just
crazy.
I mean, it was ridiculous. But then I went back and looked, and my Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns hours kind of scared me because I didn't really pay attention to how long I'd actually been playing that game for. This may turn into my second Skyrim.
Oh, jeez, are you serious? What are you at, over 100 already?
Yeah, I'm over 100. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Gosh,
pretty good. Yeah.
that's crazy. All right. Well, those are some really good games. But what do you want to play now? You know what I want to play now? Watch Dogs.
Go
I
figure.
mean, I've been waiting for this game for so long. We're probably 3 weeks out. It's coming out on the 27th, so a little more than 3 weeks. I'm going to try to bust my ass on Elder Scrolls and try to hit 50 before Watch Dogs comes out. Because I really don't want Watch Dogs to take me away from too much of Elder Scrolls Online, but I'm going to have to try to balance my time between the two. But one of the games you have on here is kind of interesting. It's a game that I wanted to play. I played the demo for Catherine.
Yeah, I saw this. So I did a little bit of hunting on the PlayStation Network this weekend, and excuse me, coffee's coming back up.
Yummy.
Yeah, that definitely tastes better the first time down. So, Catherine it's a pretty interesting game. It's from the people who brought us Persona. Mm-hmm. I believe it's the same team in Atlas that did this. Kind of, it's like a really fucked up dating sim.
Yeah.
But it's so screwed up in a way that you clearly want to play it and see what happens. I mean, it's the guys who give you Persona. How can this be bad?
Some of the puzzles are interesting. I mean, from what I played of it, some of the puzzles are kind of really insane. But the dialogue, the dialogue trees and the talking and the voice acting, everything in the game is really, really interesting, especially the storyline.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm starting to notice that Atlas reuses a lot of their voice actors. A lot of them. Because you start picking up, like, if you go back and play some of their earlier titles, and then you kind of work your way up through their library, you start realizing, hey, I know that guy did that voice from this game.
That's crazy. I don't think I've noticed that. And I've played quite a few of the Atlas games.
The one guy, I need to figure out his name because he's in a lot of games. The one guy that does the voice, jumping back to Persona 3, the character in the game, Akihiko Sanada, the guy that does his voice, has done the voice of like 3 or 4 different characters in several different Atlas games. I mean, he's all over the place. Wow. And I've heard him in a couple other games too. But his voice has been modified. Like, I think I heard him in Skyrim once. I could be wrong. He may have. I've heard. Like I said, I've heard him in a couple other games. I need to go back and play him.
If you start playing Elder Scrolls, you'll notice that there's a lot of voices that are reused in Elder Scrolls 2 when you're talking to a lot of the NPCs. I mean, there's so much voiceover and voice acting in Elder Scrolls, it's crazy. Well, I'm sure that they had to, because I know they did it in Skyrim.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like, there's, 40 different NPCs have the same voice, just, different locations. And the other game I want to play, too, which this kind of goes in, the show notes kind of reveals, too, by accident. Quantic Dream has always been a developer that I've kind of had a warm, fuzzy feeling towards because their work on the PS3 is phenomenal. Heavy Rain was, I believe, their first venture.
That was one of the first games I bought on my PS3. When I bought my PS3, I went out and bought 3 games. I bought MotorStorm, I bought Heavy Rain, and I bought Dark Souls.
Okay. Yeah, Heavy Rain.
No, Demon Souls. Dark Souls was the newer one. Demon Souls, I think, was the first one.
I missed it. Yeah, that was way before. But I think we talked before candidly. Heavy Rain was one I wanted to pick up because I like those kinds of games like that, and it looks amazing. Beyond Two Souls is the game I'm really wanting to get a hold of. That's the one with Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe, and they actually did in-game likenesses of the two. And I was watching all the trailers. I think there's 4 trailers on the PlayStation Network for this game, and I'm like, why the fuck did I not buy this game when I saw it? Like, it just looks so good. And I'm gonna drop the coin on it this Friday and play it for sure.
Yeah, I played through a lot of Heavy Rain. I didn't finish it, but it's an outstanding story, and the graphics and everything are just amazing.
Yeah,
and
that
I can
was
just imagine what Beyond Two Souls is like.
yeah, and I really hope, because I've had this problem already a number of times, is I really the PS3 is capable of doing 1080p. I really, really hope that Beyond Two Souls does 1080p. Because if it only does it in 720p, it's going to look like shit on my display. But
I'm pretty sure the game I was talking about was Demon Souls. Demon Souls was the first one. Dark Souls is the newer one.
okay.
That's from Software is the name of the developer. If you've never played those games, it's you may like it.
I mean, if they got a demo available, I'll probably download it, see what it's all about.
It's one of the hardest games you'll ever play, and it's basically like a role playing game. And I was trying to see if Beyond Two Souls, if they do say if it's 1080p or not.
See, that's why I like buying the disc, because when you look on the PlayStation Network, it may tell you, but I've never seen it. I can't tell if it does 1080p or not when you do digitals.
I don't see it listed here whether it's 1080p or not. We'll have to look into that and see. I'm not too sure. But Demon Souls and Dark Souls, they are games that are extremely hard. You need to hate yourself to play them.
Good, because I do.
And if you don't hate yourself before you play them, you will hate yourself after you play them. So I don't want to say it's like a hack and slash, because you can't go through and hack and slash the game, but it's like a role-playing game. You'll create a character. You only have one character in your party. You're going to go through and fight different different type of mobs, and then boss mobs. The thing is, you collect souls, and you can then use those to level up, buy things and everything. When you die, you drop those souls down. So if you can get back to your body and pick them back up, that's good. If you die again before you get back to your body, those souls are gone.
Oh man, that's like the worst kind of fucking corpse run ever.
So
that sucks.
And as you're playing through the game, when you go through an area, mobs respawn. So if you go through an area, clear it out, and then you come back later on, let's say you teleport it out, come back, mobs are back. You have to fight through them again. There's puzzles in the game. The games are extremely difficult when it comes to beating the boss mobs, because you have to figure out how to kill them. These games are extremely popular. There's other things to the game that I have not mentioned yet, though. One of the things that was very interesting with the first Demon Souls, as you're playing through the game, it had an online component. People could leave notes all over the place, and you can go around and see these little red hieroglyphic things, like these little things on the ground. You could run up and then read a little note, like, beware of this ahead of you, or boss mob here, or there's don't forget this ring or this sword down here to the side. As you're playing through the game, though, there's the online component also, in that other people can invade your world and come after you and do a PvP kill on you.
Wow.
If you let them. So it's a single-player game with a multiplayer component to it. Now, you don't have to partake in that, but that makes it a little more interesting and a little more fun. That you can have somebody come in and basically start chasing you down and fight you.
Damn, man, that sounds nuts.
Yeah. Look them up. They're good games. Crazy. They're very crazy.
I don't need this shit right now, man. I'm trying to play Beyond Two Souls. I'm trying to play Catherine. I need my dating sim action. You gotta freaking do this shit to me, man. I can't take it. You're gonna make my backlog as big as yours.
There's, you know what? It happens. Those
I don't want that.
Those were the 3 games I picked up when I first bought my PS3. I mean, I literally went out like the next day and grabbed those 3 games, because I had always wanted to play the 3 of them, and all 3 are great games. I really like the original MotorStorm. It did have a lot of bugs to it. The control wasn't the greatest on it, but I still played the hell out of it. So.
Wow. I gotta show that. Remind me, I gotta show you something when we get off air.
All right. Well, I think we're basically to the end of the show.
Yeah, my pants will still be on when I do it. So.
Yeah, thank God. I did have dinner tonight. I don't want to.
You don't want to throw it back up.
No, because it wasn't the cheapest of dinners either. Kim actually cooked a really nice meal tonight. So,
Oh man.
where you can find us, send us some emails. Let us know how we're doing. Email us at whatimplayingnow@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at whatimplayingnow. Drop the G. Google Plus is plus.google.com/the plus symbol. What I'm Playing Now podcast. It's about that time of the night, trust me. And twitch.tv/what I'm playing now. That's it for this episode. We'll be back next week with episode 24. We'll have some more news stories for you and some more of what we're playing now. Have a good week gaming, everybody. We'll see you later.
Peace.